Hello, everybody. Jerry, can you turn up the volume on this? Sure.
Sophronia, Sophronia.
You didn't make that easy on me. Sophronia. Sophronia, what grade?
Third.
Third. Okay.
Brother's doing it, so she can't. She's got to do it.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. To lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, we have Sophia Pinot, fifth grader at Scarcelli Elementary School. Gideon Raleigh Reyes, fifth grader at Scarcelli Elementary School. And Sophronia Raleigh Reyes, third grader at Scarcelli Elementary School. If everyone could please rise.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, students. So to get started tonight, I'm Frankie Alvarado, Superintendent at Douglas County School District. We're going to do introductions. Some of you may know the administrators here up at the table, but there may be some that you do not know. We're going to start with Principal Thetford.
I'm Greg Thetford, principal at Carson Valley Middle School.
Hello, I'm Amy Carter, proud principal at Powelloo Middle School.
Hi, everyone. I'm Blaine Spires. I'm the proud principal at CC Manili.
I'm Susan McNeil, the principal at Scarcelli Elementary School.
Leslie Peters. I am the Assistant Director of Education Services.
Cheryl Mayfield, Executive Director of Inclusive Education.
Ashley Mitchell, I'm the Administrator for Accountability Grants and Progress Monitoring.
Okay, also with us tonight, we have two trustees, Aaron Miller representing the lake and Melinda Knighting representing the Ranchos. Watching from far away, we do have President Wagstaff as well as Trustee Zinke and Trustee Jackson. They're just watching, listening attentively, and at some point tonight, Trustee Jansen will arrive. All right, the purpose of tonight's evening, our meeting tonight is a town hall to discuss consolidation scenarios that the board has directed me to present, engage your input as school community members. So your voices matter tonight. We do have a presentation to go through. We want you to see what a potential consolidation may look like at the elementary level and also discuss a potential consolidation at the middle school level. Just know this was a very quick turnaround. We had a board meeting last night, finished that just after 8 p.m. I met this morning with our cabinet team, had a collaborative meeting with our middle school principals as well as our elementary principals. So I want to thank all of you for your input and your hard work in putting this presentation together. And we're going to share the responsibilities of going through the information tonight. At the very end of the presentation, we do have a set of questions that everybody in the audience will have an opportunity to come up. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. What we ask is that you identify which question you're going to be answering or asking, and then there'll be a Q&A session if time allows at the very end. We do plan on ending this meeting approximately at 7:30 p.m. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay. All right, so here are the consolidation scenarios. The motion is listed below on this slide. Scenario number 1 is looking at consolidating CC Manili and SES. No school site has been determined at this point. So we're going to just demonstrate what that would look like, what the impact would be on class sizes and assignments at those schools. The second scenario is a middle school consolidation. And that would require a grade level assignment change in order for us to fit all of the students into one middle school. Okay, scenario number 1. No matter what, this is going to require a boundary adjustment consideration for the board to take into consideration for future action in this current school year, but the implementation of that boundary change will not take place until the 26-27 school year. In the PCFP, the funding plan for the state of Nevada for schools, it does require an annual review of our boundaries. And the goal within the PCFP is that we distribute our enrollment across all of our schools as equally as possible. That way we can leverage resources and really direct the funding towards teaching and learning for every student in our district. For tonight, we're using current enrollment data with an assumption that we're going to retain 100% of our students. Although we show declining enrollment, we have to be careful with capacity. So assuming that we're going to retain 100% allows us to plan to house more kids if that changes next year or the year after. Currently at Scarcelli Elementary School, there are 23 classrooms, and at CCMES, there are 24 classrooms. Both schools have the classroom capacity after a boundary adjustment is decided by the Board of Trustees. So it can go, the board does have the flexibility of picking either school site in this particular scenario. Okay, I worked with our principals today. Our principals had the opportunity to chalk some benefits and some disadvantages if their site were selected. I'm just going to go through this information verbatim, so that way I don't miss sharing their input regarding this, the benefits and disadvantages. So CCMES, the benefits for this school site is it has a central multi-purpose room. It's large enough for PE and lunch at the same time. There are large fields with playground equipment and 2 baseball fields. There's a foyer and office together with views of the multi-purpose room. That does help with supervision. There are additional classrooms and offices for specialists and support staff. Facility upgrades include a new roof, new boilers. It's scheduled to have new LED lighting, and that was paid for through the parking program up on Warrior Way. And it's scheduled to have new HVAC installed at the school site. For safety, there's tinting on all windows. All classrooms with students have new carpet within the last 6 years, and there's common spaces also have new carpet. Within the last 6 years, they have new student bathroom renovations that have taken place there. Some classrooms do not have windows. This can be beneficial considering student safety, any potential threats of active intruder coming from outside the building. Okay, disadvantages. If CC was selected as a school site, the campus is older. It was built in 1979. There are no sidewalks leading to and from the campus. There's limited parking, and it impacts pickup and drop-off. It's not next to any other district facility, even though it does have the potential to share staff. It is about 1.5 miles away from Powaloo and Scarcelli. Okay, Scarcelli Elementary School benefits. It's a newer building. It was opened in 1989. The SRO station next door at Powaloo in close proximity. All classrooms have large accessible windows, which allows for emergency exits. There's safety tint on all windows. All surrounding neighborhoods have sidewalks leading to and from SES. There's a separate bus lane with no personal vehicle access at drop-off and pickup. There's ample parking there. It's bright, natural light throughout the school, including hallways. There's a large grass field with play equipment, multiple fields. It's adjacent to BLM land and hiking trails for PE and science walks, and it's in close proximity to Powaloo. It offers opportunities for shared staff to travel back and forth easily, including ESL, OT, etc. There are more benefits to SES on this second slide. No transportation necessary for 5th grade band. Students walk back and forth to participate in ceramics, reading buddies, green screen, cooking, and gardening, allowing for a sister school partnership and a strong neighborhood hub. Middle school siblings walk to SES to volunteer in classrooms and the library after Powaloo dismissal. Larger classroom size, student cubbies and abundant storage in classrooms, multiple extra rooms for specialists, high-quality specialized raised garden beds with all grade levels involved in learning, gardening, and harvesting. The disadvantages for Scarselli Elementary School are it's unable to hold PE and lunch at the same time in the NPR. Okay, in the district, we do have a class size ratio plan, and Ms. Dwyer will share that.
So per NRS, we have a target ratio. So these target ratios that you see up top, the 16:1 in kindergarten, 22:1 in first, second, and third grade, and 25:1 in fourth and fifth grade are what the NRS prescribes. Our projected ratios at the beginning of this year were what you see there. So 19 in kindergarten, 21 respectively. And you can see what our current ratios are. Because we have less than 100,000 students, we're allowed to file for an alternative plan for our class size reduction plan. And so our target goals were to stay under 23:1 in K-1, 25:1 in 2 and 3, and 27:1 in 4 and 5. And so these are, as you can see, we're well within. Also something to keep in mind though, this is an average. So this is an average of all of our students enrolled in those grade levels. So you might see some class sizes that have 1 or 2 more than what you see up here, but this is an average and that's how we're required to report per NRS.
Okay, so for scenario 1, looking at the teaching staff at CC, the teaching staff at SES, assuming positive intent that we will retain 100% of our current student population, and then rolling up our grade levels. So this is going to show our projected 2026-27 enrollment. You'll notice a little asterisk next to each of those grade levels. And then assuming that we max out in kinder at the maximum number of students per what we'd like to see in our kindergarten class as a 20 student average. So with the current enrollment, what you'll see for kinder is a total of 80 students with 4 teachers in that grade level with the class size average of 20 students. This would be one of the best class size averages for that grade level in a long time. And I think our kindergarten teachers, if they're here, would also share that same sentiment. Looking at first grade, combining, the student population for both schools in that grade level and having, 4 teachers, that would be about 19 students per class average. Once again, beating what we've had in most recent school years. Grade 2, those 2 grade levels combined would be around 91 students. There's currently 5 teachers in that grade level, which would be right around an 18.2 student average. And then grade 3, 96 students for 4 teachers, about 24 students per class. Grade 4, 103 students at 4 teachers, 25.75 student average. And then grade 5, 116 students with 5 teachers and a 23.2 student per class average. That would in order for this to happen, this would be 26 total teachers. As I mentioned previously, both CC and SES do not have 26 classrooms. So no matter what, the board will have to consider a boundary change. So on the next slide, Jared, if you can go to the next slide. This just shows one slight boundary change. Once again, the board has not approved one, but I'm running just a sample scenario for you in which we take the students that reside in the Ruhenstroth area and just reassign those students to Gardnerville Elementary School. Once again, no decision has been made. It's just a scenario so our community can see what it can potentially look like if this were to take place. So working through trying to stay within the CSR plan that Ms. Dwyer shared with you. If we were to combine these 2 school sites, looking at kinder, assuming positive intent, we have 100% capacity met for that grade level, 80 students, 4 teachers, 20 student average per class. For first grade, We're looking at approximately 72 students with 4 teachers. And then we would allocate 3 teaching staff for that grade level. That would be a reduction of 1 FTE for teachers. That would be 24 students per class for that grade level. Grade 2, 83 students. There's 5 teachers. Currently, in that grade level, we'd look at making a 1 teacher reduction, having 4 allocated for a 20.75 student per class average. Grade 3, 94 students for 4 teachers. No reductions there. 23.5 students per class average. Grade 4, we have about 102 students there with 4 teachers. 25.5 students per class average. And grade 5, 109 students. We would look at reducing 1 teacher in that grade level allocation, and that would be put us at 27.25. You know, the goal was to hit 27. We're slightly over 27 by a quarter student in that 5th grade. In total, you see 23 FTE, so 23 teachers. We have 23 classrooms at Scarselli and 24 classrooms at CC. Once again, anticipating the best case scenario for cohort survival rate for this presentation today, declining enrollment would just lower the class size averages. Okay, on the next slide, Assistant Director of Ed Services, Leslie Peters, will present this information.
Thank you all for being here. 2 of the initiatives that our office oversees are the Read by Grade 3 legislation from 2016, which requires that every elementary school have 1 literacy specialist, and students use the MAP reading assessment as a universal screener. Those students who score at the 40th percentile or below are placed on a literacy intervention plan. And so the literacy specialists at all of our elementary schools are required to work with classroom teachers, set up a plan, and then we monitor student progress with that. And so currently, I'm sharing the student numbers by site of students who are on plans. CC Manili has 74 students on a plan, and Scarselli has 87. And then currently we do have 1 literacy specialist at every one of our sites. So that just gives you an idea of what that would look like as far as students who might require reading intervention at a single school site if these schools are combined. I also oversee the English language program for our district. And so we also screen students who indicate on their home language survey that their first language or language spoken at home might not be English. And so they are screened, and then those that qualify work with our EL specialists. Currently, we have 13 students receiving services at CC Manili, and we have 11 at Scarselli. And then the current EL specialists, CC Manili shares a specialist with Minden, and Scarselli shares a specialist with Paualu. So they each have half time.
Ms. Peters, do you want to share our commitment to having 2 learning specialists?
I would love to, actually, because I'm sure that's a question that's being around. We talked in cabinet, and there is absolutely no way that 1 literacy specialist could provide appropriate and effective intervention services and support the teachers with over 100 students that potentially would need services. This is dictated by NRS. It is a requirement, and the governor, through his ACing accountability, really expects to see increases in student achievement, especially in literacy and math. And so we would be committed to keeping both literacy specialists at the consolidated site. And that could be then a site decision of how that looks, what that would look like. If someone would take the uppers and someone would take the lowers, that would be determined by the administrator.
Okay, for Title I, Ms. Mitchell will share this information.
Hi. Title I funds are funds designated by the state for schools with a higher percentage of free and reduced lunch. That's the current measure of lower socioeconomic populations. So right now, CC Manili has 45.3% of their students receiving free and reduced lunch, and Scarcelli has 42.6%. If the two were to consolidate, they would have 44% of their population on free and reduced lunch, which would maintain the Title I status that CC currently has and Scarcelli would have next year either way. Currently, our Title I funding here in DCSD is under review. So Ed Services and my department are working together to reformat that on a bigger level. But those funds could be used to pay for additional interventionists or other instructional programs, supplies as needed. And they could expect to see a larger portion when combining, because right now Scarcelli is not receiving title funds, and they should be when they merge, whether or not they merge.
Okay, Dr. Mayfield for Inclusive Ed.
So we just wanted to give it a quick overview of what our special education programs at those two schools currently look like. Right now, CC Manili houses our pre-K program. They have approximately 26 students with IEPs that are supported at that pre-K program. They also have 1.5 resource teachers, and they currently have 23 students who have IEPs at the resource level. At Scarcelli, we have 2 CLS autism programs, which are specialized self-contained programs for students with intense service support needs. And their programs combined have a total of 15 students at this time. Scarcelli also has 2 resource teachers and 31 students who are currently receiving resource level supports. Nevada Administrative Code dictates the caseloads for our special education programs and services that are provided to our students, and it does put a cap that we have to adhere to. And regardless of consolidations, we'll continue to adhere to those requirements.
Okay, so that concludes scenario 1. I'm sure there's questions that you have. We'll hold all questions till the end of the presentation tonight. And so let's go ahead and move into scenario 2. Scenario 2 is looking at consolidating the middle schools. In order for this to take place, this would exceed our capacity to put 6th, 7th, and 8th grade into one middle school. And so we would have to keep 5th grade students at elementary schools, and they would level up into the 6th grade. So the social impact, there was still some social impact, but it would be minimal. And then the 2 schools would be consolidated to one middle school that serves 7th and 8th grade. An additional 2 teachers are needed at each elementary school to add an additional grade level there. Transportation routes will need adjustments, and there are additional administrative decisions that are required to ensure instructional equity for all students. And there are no capacity concerns at CVMS or Paualu Middle School if they're serving 7th and 8th grade. CVMS has 39 classrooms. Paualu, according to our capacity review, has 35 classrooms. However, Ms. Carter let me know this afternoon that you have 39 as well. 39 as well. So I just want to point that out. Okay, looking at the enrollment. So we have 6th and 7th grade. This is current enrollment for the 25-26 school year. So these 2 grade levels, assuming that we maintain 100% cohort survival, would be 734 students in a combined middle school. Okay, so this shows what the 6th grade population is looking like for next year, about 330 students that would remain at the elementary schools divided amongst every elementary here in the Valley. For 7th grade, we would have 362 students. For 8th grade, 350 students. And once again, those 6th graders, they would just level up from 5th graders to 6th graders. Okay, benefits. These are the same benefits and disadvantages that were shared at last night's board meeting. So those of you that were there, I apologize for the redundancy, but I want to make sure that everybody who did not watch last night or attend that meeting is aware of this information. So for CVMS, it's Central Valley location near DHS, convenient access for all families, has 2 full-size gyms, 1 recently renovated, and a functional track and field for field facilities. Serves as a central hub, reducing district cost, has recent HVAC upgrades throughout the campus. Dedicated CLS and PAYS spaces support life skills and inclusive programming, a wide range of academic, arts, CTE, and athletic offerings. It has a growing enrollment of 50 plus students for this school year, serves the majority of the Carson Valley Middle School students, provides band instruction for 4 elementary feeder schools at 35 students, outdoor spaces that support student well-being. It's centrally located for EMS and other emergency service providers, and historically significant campus, the Carson Valley community. Okay, disadvantages for CVMS. There's continued facility modernization, including gym and HVAC upgrades. Limited quad space presents potential for future campus enhancement. Arrival and dismissal traffic patterns indicate a need for continued planning and coordination. On-site parking constraints provide an opportunity to explore shared or expanded solutions. Potential to enhance green space in support of student wellness with the additional land that's at the rear of the school. There's an outdoor class transition, which supports movement and natural light with opportunities to strengthen weather and supervision supports. Okay, benefits of Pawalu being selected in this scenario. It's a newer building built in 1994 with space for district office staff with separate entrance in their GPOD. Has a larger footprint on 30 acres of land to expand if needed. Grade level pods promoting community engagement. CTE alignment, which means that they provide CTE access and opportunities, not necessarily alignment with the high school, but ceramics, green architecture, design, and modeling. There are 2 gyms to allow for 2 sports to practice simultaneously. Addition of spin and weight room also allows for multiple PE classes and units to be taught simultaneously. There are multiple outdoor spaces, lower filled with baseball field, upper filled with track, cross-country course on campus with no vehicle traffic. Hiking is possible for PE and outdoor science. Has rental space capabilities, a tribal basketball tournament, cafe space for community meetings. There's partnership with SES and CCMES for clubs, bands, ceramics, foods, and green screen. Ample space for transportation with extra bus lane in the back. A single point of entry with offices immediately in the front. There's safety tint on all exterior windows. It's centrally located for Pineview, Wellington, and Topaz Ranch estates. Okay, disadvantages. The location, we could possibly lose North County area to Carson Middle School. The transportation time, it's 6 miles further south than CVMS. There's a 4-way stop traffic in front of the school. There's poor cell service for some carriers. Fencing has not been completed by the parking lot for a fully enclosed school at this time. Okay, moving forward with education services.
All right, so similar to elementary schools, our middle schools and high schools also are required to provide English language services for those students qualifying. So currently, our numbers by site, CVMS has 23 students receiving services and Pawalu has 16. CVMS has a full-time EL teacher and Pawalu right now shares half-time with Scarselli.
Okay, Ms. Mitchell.
Unlike the 2 elementary schools, Pawalu and CVMS qualify differently. So Pawalu Middle School has 42.9% of their students on free and reduced lunch, whereas CVMS has 28.5%. So Pawalu is a Title I school, CVMS is not. If they were to consolidate based on today's number, they would be at 34% free and reduced lunch, and the cutoff for receiving funding is 40%. So in a consolidation model, those free and reduced lunch students would lose Title I services. Those services currently pay for intervention support, literacy and math instruction, targeted supplies to support instruction, professional development, and so on.
Looking at our inclusive education for our middle schools, Pawalu currently hosts our 2 CLS autism programs, serving a total of 13 students. They additionally have 2 resource teachers who have 44 students between them, and they have a PACE lab. And although the PACE lab is accessed by all students, general education and students with IEPs, it is paid for from a grant from vocational rehabilitation because their target population is our students who are in need of those transitional programs and services. CVMS has 3.5 resource teachers and currently have 70 students with IEPs on their campus. They also have a PACE lab on their site, also paid for through a grant from vocational rehabilitation.
Okay, more information regarding this particular scenario. So if this were to be the decided scenario by the Board of Trustees, leaders at the selected school will create a master schedule to determine course offerings included in the school's course catalog, ensuring compliance with all NRS requirements. Course sections will be planned using a 27 student enrollment cap to ensure flexibility for new enrollments. And existing elective courses will be maintained and new elective options may be added as student interest and demand allow for. Okay, future considerations by the Board of Trustees. No matter what, the district needs to look at school boundaries and the trustees will have to make a decision on school boundaries this year. The district is on average declining 166 students. We're already at that number with homeschool registrations for this school year alone. So we will have to monitor the reality of declining enrollment over the next 2 years to plan for future consolidations. It's very important for the community to be aware that this is not a one and done consolidation situation. We will have to look at this on an annual basis and definitely every 2 years. With appropriate planning, future consolidations can take place through a phased consolidation, meaning one elementary school, if that was the scenario, could stop accepting kindergarten, and then slowly grades 1 through 5 would level up through our education system. That could allow us to pivot if there's a change in enrollment, a change in community demographics, and then we can easily bring back a grade level in the middle of a year, rather than an abrupt school consolidation and closures. So we're looking at this through a meaningful lens, and we want to make sure that we're seeking your input. So on the next slide here, our community engagement. Every speaker tonight that comes up will have 3 minutes to speak. We have a set of questions up there for you. Question number 1 is, what consolidation do you prefer? 2 is, how do you feel about 6th grade education returning to elementary schools? 3, how do you feel about the option of providing 5th grade education services at Pawalu Middle School? That was a topic of discussion last night. 4, what specific safety concerns do you have for each scenario? 5, what information do you want the Board of Trustees to consider as they make this decision? And then a Q&A. As you come up to speak, I ask that you please identify what area you're going to speak on, or if you're going to speak on more than one item, please keep that within the 3-minute time frame. If we can answer your question tonight, we do have our school principals here attending, and if it's something site specific, they can provide an answer. If we do not have an answer for you, we will create a frequently asked question document and then post that on our budget transparency webpage for everybody to review, and also send out a parent square once we do have answers to all of the unanswered questions tonight. Future special board meeting is scheduled for February 3rd. That agenda will be posted tomorrow morning, in which the board may provide direction on the consolidation they want me to pursue and file legal notices for. That is not the final decision. That's just the first step, and has a 30-day requirement for that notice. So the final decision can be made in March. Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and open it up. Please state your name. For the record, we are recording tonight.
Hi, my name is Esmeralda Benitez Del Real, and I will be looking at question number 5, which is what information do you want the Board of Trustees to consider as they make this decision? So as I stated, my name is Esmeralda Benitez Del Real, and I am a parent, teacher, and a product of Douglas County School District. I would like to share my opinion and state that I am strongly opposed to the proposal to consolidate kindergarten through 5th into K through 4th and move 5th grade into middle school. This shift would have serious implications for students' mental health, emotional development, and overall educational experiences. Elementary school plays a critical role in preserving childhood innocence while building foundational skills. And foundational academic and social skills. 5th graders are still very much children, and placing them in middle school environment too early can increase anxiety, expose them to developmentally inappropriate social pressures, and negatively impact their sense of safety and belonging. From personal experience, I attended Gardnerville Elementary School while it still served grades K through 6, and I truly believe that it allowed me to remain a child longer while gradually preparing me for the expectations of middle school. I felt confident, ready, and emotionally prepared for that transition. In contrast, my younger sister attended Gardnerville Elementary School as it served and still serves kindergarten through 5th and struggled significantly with the transition to middle school. She felt uneasy and overwhelmed by having to grow up too quickly, which affected her confidence and the adjustment. I am a 4th grade teacher at C.C. Manili, and I know that 5th grade serves as an important bridge year. Removing it from the elementary setting risks rushing students through a critical stage of development. For the well-being, readiness, and success of our students, I strongly urge you to reconsider this change. Thank you for taking these concerns into serious consideration.
Hi, my name is Bryce Hill. I am a sophomore who currently is attending Douglas High, and I would like to answer the first question. What consolidation do you prefer? I personally would prefer the consolidation of the middle schools. One, and the main reason is I believe that, like this wonderful lady said, is that 5th grade is a crucial part. And if we remove that from the elementary school setting, we are exposing these kids to, honestly, the main thing and blatantly, vaping. It is running rampant through schools as a student. And I also have a brother who is going through that right now. Or not, yeah, but like he is in that setting. And going through that, I know that if we bring 5th grade up, it will increase it by making it more available to younger ages, and which will then increase the rates of it as they go higher. And a positive is if we do bring down 6th grade down, it'll lower the rates by having 6th graders stay younger and stay more innocent for longer, not being exposed to those things. And that's just the main comment I have. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Robert Fordine. I'm a 5th generation Nevadan. My family's been here since before we were a state. My children both attend these schools here, and to put 5th graders in with the higher levels would be absolutely ridiculous, as already has been stated. I mean, you just can't do that. My daughter herself has gotten into vaping because she is now at the middle school in 6th grade, and it's bad. I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but vaping is harder to quit than heroin. I don't know if you knew that or not, but that's something I'm dealing with my 12-year-old daughter, is her quitting something that is harder to quit than heroin, because she has been moved to this position, which is okay, and she does well. However, I'd like to address multiple things on here, I guess. What information do I want the board to know? What I would like you guys to know is that if you were to consolidate schools, you think that you're going to be helping in creating a solution, but you will not. You will have Douglas County parents walking away from you left and right. We will pull our children. We will do anything and everything we can to stand for our children, to do what we can for them. Period. End of story. If my children end up having to go to school here in town, that means I will have to move. If I move, I will not stay in this valley. And I know many, many other parents that stand within that same boat, and they will also leave this valley. And that's not just children leaving our valley, that's tax dollars leaving our valley, that's humans leaving our valley, that is hardworking people. I'm a business owner in this county, and being a business owner in this county is quite difficult. I pay an absolute ton of taxes out of every single check that comes to me for things that are absolutely ridiculous. And our tax dollars that belong to this county are going to other places in this state where they do not belong. Our tax dollars belong here in Douglas County, and we, the people, have the power to change this. We, the people, have a decision to make here. The idea of consolidating schools is all good and grand until you start looking at the fact of, okay, now we have more students coming in. What are you going to do now? Your building is derelict. It's been sitting. The HVAC is old. You can't put students in it. Now you have to build new buildings. Where are you going to receive your funding? How are you going to do this with the continued decrease that you keep talking about? Where is your future planning? You are planning for here and now, but you are not planning for years down the road. You are not planning for the students that are going to be leaving this school district due to these decisions. There are other answers and there are other solutions to this, and we all stand in front of that, and we can all find these. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lacka. I'm a parent and a teacher. I'm going to answer question number 1. First of all, I don't disagree with the people who came before me. I believe that 5th grade is a good place, or is a good grade to have at elementary school. But in the presentations that were presented to us tonight, there are consolidation options to keep 5th grade at elementary through doing new boundary lines. That would be the case no matter which consolidation scenario we picked. So that's kind of a moot point. That said, I prefer the elementary consolidation plan. We can still serve K through 5. I heard nothing but benefits about Scarcelli Elementary School. And in fact, we would have increased Title I funding, whereas if we went with the middle school option, we would have decreased Title I funding for those students. So that's a disservice to those kids. Additionally, if we combine middle schools, we would have many less opportunities for students. As of right now, we have 2 schools that offer culinary, 2 schools that offer band, 2 schools that have athletics. All of those opportunities would be cut in half, and we're not cutting in half the student enrollment. We're only reducing it by a third. So it would ultimately negatively impact our students. Also, there's a lot of concerns about the geographic locations of these schools. If we do the elementary consolidation, they're only 1.5 miles apart. No one is facing extensively longer bus rides. I don't believe people would feel the need to pull their kids from our district. However, if we were to choose the middle school consolidation, obviously those schools are much further apart. I know there's many families, especially in the north, that would not keep their kids in Douglas County if it was chosen at Pawalu. But even vice versa, as the gentleman before me talked about, doesn't want his kids to go to school in town because of the distance. So again, choosing the elementary consolidation alleviates that. If we do have a plan to consolidate schools in the future, especially for middle school, because kids at that age are so unique, I think that having a more phased approach going forward would make a lot more sense. So I just really urge the board to think about this in a way that is truly best for kids. And from what I heard in this presentation, the elementary consolidations really seems great for kids. I don't see a downside. And also shout out to all of my students who are here, and thank you for using your voice and supporting what you believe in, whichever side it is.
Hi, I am Savannah Reese Albright, and I will be answering question 1. I think that the enrollment in elementary school numbers are lower than CVMS and Pawalu, which is one reason why we should combine Scarcelli and CC, and have Pawalu as a 5th through 8th If we combine CVMS and Powaloo, it would add a lot of stress on families in the Indian Hills area due to the extra travel getting to and from school. This is likely to cause these students to go to Carson because it is roughly 15 minutes more to Powaloo than it is to Carson. If this decreases the enrollment level, which would cost us more money, then it could simply increase our debt. Thank you for taking this into consideration. Hope you have a great night.
Hi there. My name is Shannon Lemesha, and I want to answer what consolidation do you prefer? It's more so not just what I prefer, but what numbers speak to. The district is facing a budget shortfall of more than $4 million. That's kind of the starting point here. We keep hearing that closing school, based on Frankie's numbers, saves about $1 million and some change. But parents keep asking a very reasonable question. Where does the rest of the money come from? The answer is that it comes from reducing future costs, or it comes from out of our student programs and making cuts where applicable. Elementary consolidation between CCMES and Scarcelli is projected to save about $1.02 million per year, largely from the $938K in staffing and $80 shy K dollars in utilities. But that option leaves a similar cost for the boiler being about $485K presented on Frankie's board meeting. However, these costs don't come away. They come in due time, even if it's deferred maintenance. So from Mr. Demas's presentation that was shown to the board, unfortunately for the middle school, Carson Valley Middle School is predicted to save 1.06 that's coming from it. But we are also deferring almost $3.6 million in future capital cost. I don't know if many of you know, but from this meeting, $2.6 million is needed for HVAC replacement, $780K is needed for roof replacement, $150K for the track, $160K for the pavement work. Avoiding these costs changes the long-term math. We need to make up $3 million somewhere else after this $1 million shortfall. How are we going to save these children's programs if we have to strip it from somewhere else? The difference matters when the district is trying to close this gap. I know there's a concern with closing middle schools because it means fewer opportunities for students, but what opportunities are going to go away when we're trying to make up $3 million that it takes to keep one of these middle schools that are open? Coaching positions are reduced, team sizes are capped, electives are rotated. We are already guaranteed by the board that these electives are going to be staying open and that even some will be increased for capacity with this change. Operating two middle schools under declining enrollment while carrying millions in future facility costs puts the access at risk for both sites. Once consolidated, middle schools properly funded has a better chance of actually sustaining for our Valley programs, for our kids who need this intervention. Going to closing elementary schools as presented by our English language leadership, closing these elementary schools, it means closing those early access programs with the pre-K as well. Can you imagine losing those pre-K access to early engagement? You already are in a declining enrollment position, and when you decline also your pre-K enrollment, your future is setting up for not having more enrollment for those students to receive the education they need. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tani, and my daughter currently goes to Scarcelli. She is in the C1 program. She is a special needs child. One of my biggest concerns is what is the plan for our special ed students? We are currently zoned for CC Manili. My daughter was attending that school. Unfortunately, we did not have the best experience in kindergarten, and she was asked to go to Scarcelli for the C1 program. She has excelled, but if now she's going to be having to go back to CC Manili, what is the plan for these kids? We can't just brush them under the rug because they're so far few and in between. These kids do rely on having a smaller classroom with more teachers in there to help them specifically for their needs. So that's just one thing that I would like for you guys to consider. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Christensen. Based on the information that was given tonight, I think I prefer the elementary school consolidation. My gut feeling as far as the fifth grade goes is I don't like it. It's complicated, it's messy. I have questions as to, are they part of the middle school? Do they have the principal of the middle school? Do they go to the assemblies over the elementary school? Are they moving back and forth? I don't like it. Yeah, it's not my favorite. But at the same time, it could be amazing, or it could be terrible. Either way, there's an inequality across the district just to have those schools with fifth grade attend. And that also doesn't sit well with me. I do have a question though, and I don't understand this format. Do you guys get to answer the questions?
If we have an answer, we'll answer it, but you
Okay.
can speak for your 3 minutes, and if we can answer it, we will.
Okay. I guess I would like to know how much each situation saves. I mean, the numbers were not provided. I mean, they were provided earlier, I believe, but in this presentation, how much do they save?
All are approximately $1 million.
Approximately $1 million. Okay. So that points me. Okay. That's what I want to know. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Francine Hawkins, a very proud social studies teacher at CVMS, and I have with me one of my sixth grade students, Geraldine. First, I'd like to address the consolidation that we would prefer, which would be the elementary schools, as it would incur less disruption to all the students and possibly also less disruption to learning outcomes as we go forward. All students are moving forward and not backward, so we're looking toward high school and hopefully toward college. I would like to echo all of the sentiments that Miss Amanda Locke brought up and eloquently spoke, so I'm not going to reiterate those, but I can say that in my class today, I took a poll, and 3/4 of my students are wanting to play high school sports. When asked how many of them were hoping that that would evolve into a college scholarship, the same hands went up. We need to look to the future, and extracurricular sports aren't extracurricular to the curriculum. Sometimes they're the incentive needed to drive the curriculum and those academic learning outcomes. I have with me as well a stack of written statements from my students that I'd like to leave with you. And that's about all I have for you. Geraldine would like to take the stage, and she's brave enough to do so. Thank you so much for your time.
Like she said, my name is Geraldine Frost, and I am a sixth grader at CVMS. I am here to talk about how if you merge middle schools, how CVMS is a better choice in my opinion. CVMS is located in the middle of town, so it's easier to go to there, but Paula is extra like 10 to 15 minutes. Also, you would have to pay more money for buses. Also, you would lose more kids to homeschool if you merge schools at Paula because they're further away. Also, if we had merged at Paula further away kids would have to wake up earlier to get to school. And a lot of kids already don't like to get up early. CVMS is a great school for kids to learn at. It's fun, we have freedom, and we are not cooped up like chickens. Also we get to experience mummification, and that's really fun. So this is why CVMS is a better choice in my opinion.
And I'm sorry, she had a few more moments. I just wanted to clarify the mummification was a project about ancient Egypt and not for our students.
Ms. Hawkins, if you want to bring me your letters, I can make sure the board gets those.
Hello, I am Blakely Newell and I attend CVMS, and I'll be answering question 1. I prefer the merging of the elementary schools. or the middle schools, sorry, because I came to CVMS in the middle of my 6th grade year, and I came from a small private school. I was scared and I was really shocked by what was happening at the middle schools. And even 6th graders right now, I feel should not have to experience it. And so moving the 6th graders down and keeping 5th graders at elementary school is just going to heighten what's going to happen in the future. Instead of thinking short term about how many kids we're going to have in the school now, think about when they get to high school, the school is going to be so much better because they're not being so much more like matured and exposed to things that they're not ready for. They're going to be young and innocent, and they're going to be creative and not getting shut down by other ideas. They're going to be free and open, and they're just going to be so much more juvenile, not childish, but just young in heart. And I feel like that's so important because right now, even in all the schools, any kids I meet, I feel like there's so much judging, there's so much hatred. And I feel like if we stay those kids in the younger schools, it will only just heighten the outcome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jessica Wise. I am a teacher at CC McNeely, and my 1st grade son is at Scarcelli. I kind of will hit all of them. My first is a question. So when you talk about the consolidation of the elementaries and you mention rezoning and you put Runstrath, I live in Runstrath. My son is zoned for Scarcelli. Is it only Runstrath that will be rezoned?
It was only an example. I don't want to take your speaking time, so I can answer your questions when you're done speaking for you 3 minutes.
Because if they do decide to rezone just Runstrath to take away those kids to reduce the enrollment at that consolidated school, that is not fair. That makes me feel targeted because that's the neighborhood we live in. And it's a district-wide problem, but it makes it really feel like it is now just a 2 elementary school and a Runstrath problem. So I hope that's taken into consideration that if we are consolidated and our neighborhood is rezoned, that to me, that seems very just not equitable. It just doesn't seem very equal. So my other thing is, while I don't want consolidation at any school, I do feel like the 6th graders staying at elementary would kind of put it more across the district and not just involve 2 elementary schools because they are a mile apart. I kind of feel like I went to 6th grade at elementary and here I am. I'm a successful teacher. I have kids, a family. I feel like I was just fine. So I feel like it is a district-wide problem and it should be considered more across the district. So that's about that, unless I'm good.
I can answer that question. So the district will look at all boundaries. As I mentioned in the presentation earlier, the PCFP wants us to level out enrollment across all schools so we can leverage our resources towards teaching and learning.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Okay.
Hi, my name is Brian Patrick, and my feeling is I want the 6th graders back into the elementary schools. However, ladies and gentlemen, I believe, and I may be wrong, that there seems to be some confusion about money and about where money comes from and where it goes and how it's mixed versus especially your capital project money and your student money. And if that could be kind of aired out a little bit so people could explain it, I may be wrong. I should be banging the thing about the $4 million, but I think there's some things that need to be clarified. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Julie Gillen, proud teacher at Carson Valley Middle School. I just want to piggyback off of what Amanda Locke and what my amazing student, Geraldine Frost said, that what consolidation do we prefer? It's not me personally. I think it's what's best for all parties involved. Is to not disrupt the middle schools at all. They have amazing things happening at Pawalu. There are amazing things happening at CVMS. There's amazing programming that's currently happening that is getting students ready for college and career readiness. Do we want to consolidate anyone? No, we don't really want to, but I do believe that the consolidation of the elementary level is just less disruptive to the entire valley as a whole. What am I hearing from my students? Of course, I'm representing CVMS. I'm hearing concerns about the Pawalu consolidation. I'm hearing through the grapevine that families don't want to go the extra mile and go as far south, and it's a concern of theirs. And just like also other people discussed, that if we're losing families, we're losing more dollars. And if we're consolidating and trying to save dollars, and if we're losing families, there's more concerns there as well. CVMS is an amazing place to be. We are growing. I got 6 new students in the last 2 weeks. We have amazing programming. We offer everything that Pawalu offers as well. We have more capacity, centralized location. It is a safer place to be. As it is central, I'm concerned about safety access for Pawalu as being so far away. If it is the only middle school, and that's my major concern. Also, none of this is great, and it's really sad that we have to do this, and it's part of our conversations. But which do we prefer? If you have to consolidate at the middle school level, CVMS is the better choice. It has better capacity as well. And of the 2 choices, then the elementary is more preferred. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, my name is Michelle Morris. Am I close to okay. Michelle Morris. My students previously went to Pinion Hills. I pulled my son in 3rd grade in the spring and my daughter this year in the fall. And I just, on a couple notes, I definitely advocate. I'm involved with sports and all the kids programs here, and I work as a coach. I also volunteered at Yearbook at Pinion. So I'm here on behalf of the fact that since I pulled my son, I've only had 2 or 3 people ask me about homeschooling as an option. Since this all started, I've had about 40 phone calls. And so that is the magnitude you're hearing. And I think that I know you, Mr. Alvarado, said that you are only going to address the consolidation. But after we get to that point, before open enrollment ends, I think clarification needs to be brought to the table as far as the programs for sports that are going to be remaining, because being involved with all the sports, that's a huge question I'm getting asked. And band and choir, it sounds like band is a given, that it's just the logistics will be figured out, is my understanding from what I heard from last night's meeting. But, there's a lot. I think it would be wise after we do the consolidation to have another town hall to address what will keep students enrolled within the school district. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Sherry Grove. I am a speech therapist at Scarcelli Elementary School. And I want you to consider a couple things whoever consolidates. One is, if we do consolidate both of the elementary schools, Manili and Scarcelli, that we consider the special education population. I know we talked about them. What wasn't included was the amount of kids on speech IEPs as well. Combining those 2 sites, you'd have over 200 kids with IEPs. That's a lot for one principal, which I know that's what's considered. So I know when you look at that and the rezoning, maybe consider, I don't know, maybe shifting programs or a preschool at one site, whatever site has stayed open, a preschool, and then maybe we open that to other preschools, like a general ed preschool, so we can help more of our children in the district receive services. But it's just, that would be overwhelming for one site to have over 200 kids on IEPs. The other thing I think you should consider for this consolidation and future is rebranding whatever school consolidates. So like, a new mascot, maybe even a new leader, whatever it is, but it needs to be really positive and supportive so that everyone feels included and a part of this fresh new school. Thank you.
Good evening, James Holman for the record. I don't really have a lot of comments specifically to these specific questions. It's been seeming in the past that many parents and community members and teachers and students have made their concerns known, whether it's financial aspects or consolidation aspects. It appears that those have largely fallen on deaf ears, which I think has contributed to the situation we're in now. I would implore you guys to think more intensively about not just the financial impact of this, but what is less easier to quantify, how it affects our community, how it affects our kids, their emotional development. I think all that needs to be considered. It's easy to come up with numbers on, and very simple to say this is only going to cost us $1 million. I think the impact that has on not only our community, but our leaders, our kids, and also funding should be considered. I also have some concerns that we have so many, as one individual came up tonight, declining enrollment numbers. If we have that much of a declining enrollment, what's the issue? Let's not just throw a Band-Aid on it. Let's fix it. Find out what the issue is. If it's an issue internally, let's fix it. If that means consolidating, I'm all for it. If there's some other issues that need to be addressed, then I would implore you guys to look into that, and I would implore you to try to fix those issues instead of putting a Band-Aid. Thank you.
We can go together. I wasn't going to talk, but I've been a teacher 25 years only in this district, and I see some former students, which is super cool. I guess I just want to reassure everybody, mostly parents, that we have a lot of professionals in our schools that love every single kid, and every site has relationships with their kids. Nobody wants their schools to close. I guess the message I just want to put out there is that it's all going to be okay. And one thing I've learned about kids in 25 years is that they really look to adults for their guidance. And if we're okay, they're going to be okay. And if we help each other out, sort of like how Sherry was saying, that we make it all positive and happy, and maybe we don't feel that inside, but we can fake it. And the kids are going to be okay. They are. Kids are resilient, and all of us are probably going to have to hurt a little bit here and there. I know it's easy to say when your school's not the one on the chopping block, and I get that. Nobody wants that. But I also want to let everybody know we have people all over the place that care about each other, adults that care about the adult relationships as well as the student relationships. And I just hope we don't get to the place where we're pitting each other against each other in schools, because we're all in this together at the end of the day. And I think that's something that we really portray to our kids in our own classrooms. I've taught every grade in elementary except 4th and 6th possibly. And every single, where was I going with it? Anyway, kids are resilient. And as long as we let them know everything's going to be okay, it will be. And things are going to get hard for a little bit until they're not again. And I feel like, pitting each other. We shouldn't do that. I mean, kids are watching. Even when you don't think they are, they're watching. And I think it's really important to remember that this is all horrible. None of us want to be here. And that I really do think it's going to be okay. And it's going to not be great for a while, but then it will be, because I really believe in our district. And I've never taught anywhere else, never wanted to. But I really do feel like there is going to be a light at the end of this tunnel. This is temporary. We need to lean on each other and stay positive and just make sure we don't bash each other, because when you go down that road, it's really icky to turn around and try to maybe talk to somebody you may have just needed. So anyway, just want to keep it positive.
Frankie, do you want us to speak now, Frankie, or wait? What would you like us to do?
This intent of this town hall is to get community engagement, but if a principal has a statement that they'd like to make, you're welcome to make a statement.
Okay. I'll wait. It's okay.
My name is Megan Gray. I teach first grade at CC Manili. I am in my 13th year there. Very proud teacher of CC Manili. I also have a preschool daughter in the 4-year-old program and a 3rd grade son at CC Manili. I guess I'm going to answer probably a couple questions. I do not think 5th grade is ready for middle school, as some people have said. That's my son in 2 years, and although he is ridiculously smart, he is not ready. The things I've heard that middle schoolers are saying to each other, vaping, all that, it's not okay for our 5th graders. And when you think about it, those are going to be ending 4th graders going up there. I really don't think they're ready for it. Also, I know a comment was made, 5th grade is not going to be coming back down. They're not going to be like taken from Pawalu. They're just going to stay. So it's not like they're being brought down necessarily. They would just stay with us for 6th grade. If 6th grade did come down, I did attend 6th grade when I went through Douglas at CC Manili. And although I am a very successful teacher, I believe now, I don't think I was even ready for middle school in 6th grade. Middle school is a whole different world. That's why I teach elementary. But I think 6th grade coming down to the elementary schools like it was is a great idea, and combining the middle schools. Again, no one wants to be combined. I get that, but we have to do something. And just as a teacher, as a parent, also as an advocate for teachers, as I am on our teacher union board, we need a decision. And I know we have a special board meeting next week, but the amount of stress this is causing, I just know it's causing you stress. Everyone here, parents, teachers, kids. I mean, the amount of times I've talked to my 2 best friends at school and we've cried, it's awful. My kids don't know about it because I'm hiding it because I don't want them to worry. But it's hard. It's hard not knowing. And I know I'm going to be okay. I'm going to have a job. My kids are going to be safe wherever they go, but we need a decision. So I really hope on the 3rd we can have some answers, whatever it is, because I think everyone is very stressed right now. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Jillian Wagner, and I'm a sophomore at Douglas High School. I'd like to express my concern if you consolidate the middle schools. Middle school is a very crucial developmental period for me. It led me to be able to experiment with a bunch of different things that I'm now very passionate about. I am currently one of the 2 sophomore class officers. I am the youth legislator for District 17. I am a varsity athlete, and I am a straight-A student. All of my experiences in middle school helped lead me to where I am today, and like Ms. Laka said, if we combine the 2 middle schools, it takes away opportunities from some of the kids who could possibly find what they're passionate about and go forward with it in the future, and I think that's very important to consider. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Salas, and I'm a student at CVMS. And I'm going to be answering question number 1. I prefer the elementary school merge because for the students that live in Southern Carson, we will have to wake up earlier for the bus, which will be a longer bus ride for all students. So we will have longer bus rides, and it will be more expensive for transportation. And I think that we should just combine the elementary schools because they are closer and they have a shorter distance, but Paulalu and CVMS have a farther distance, and we should if we do combine middle schools, we should go to CVMS because it's in the middle, so it's closer for all students. Thank you.
Hello, my name is April Weiss. I'm the parent of a Powaloo Middle School student, a Scarcelli Elementary School student, a current volunteer, and former DCSD support staff employee. To answer question one, I honestly don't know. I think I would prefer the middle school consolidation, but I also would like to comment on fifth graders moving to the middle school. I couldn't imagine my now eighth grader moving to Powaloo when he was in fifth grade at the young age of 9. He had his first month and a half of fifth grade at being 9 because he is a late September birthday before the cutoff changed to August. I also agree with the input from others saying sixth grade staying at elementary schools makes sense as some students are not always ready for middle school. K through 6 has been done before, and I understand the sixth graders spend another year missing out on middle school opportunities, but if presented the opportunity, I personally would choose another year of elementary school for my first grader rather than an extra year of middle school. Give the youth a chance to stay young for one more year instead of the opposite. Now for the Q&A part, I'm kind of wondering why the Jacks Valley and Pinion consolidation is off the table. I was just coming around to the idea of both or all 4 elementary schools possibly combining, and it would have saved more money closing 2 schools over just 1 now. And on behalf of my 8th grader, I was also told to ask what happened to the discussion about a 4-day school week. Thank you.
I can answer the question. The 4-day school week takes a lot of research. Right now, we need to focus on the financial position of the district. We will get to the 4-day school week evaluation. I can tell you it's not going to happen for next school year. I'd like to take time next school year to evaluate that. And considering the amount of changes the district will incur, I think that's appropriate to do things at a slower pace. In regards to the trustees' decision to pool the North Valley scenario, there is discussion. The board meeting video should be posted to the YouTube channel, and the minutes will be approved at the next special meeting, and those will be available for you to review. I can ask the board president at the next special meeting to consider making a statement that provides rationale. The board president is the spokesperson for the board. I don't speak on behalf of the board. I speak on behalf of the district.
Hi. Which question will I address? Number 4, what specific safety concerns do I have for one scenario, and that's the combining of middle schools? You're going from about 200 to 300 on one campus to over 700. The safety concerns I have are obviously in terms of safety, the vaping, the bullying, the fights that can possibly occur with almost double the student body onto one campus. Are you going to increase safety officers? I know that just last week there was a fight that broke out at CVMS in the NPR during lunch with staff there. So if that's happening on a smaller campus, what's going to happen when you have a campus that's got double the students? Campus safety is a concern of mine, and I already know that it can be an issue. In consolidating the middle schools, one of the other concerns that I have as a parent is the limited choices of electives. I speak from personal experience as a parent. My daughter had to take PE 3 times. And her counselor basically told her in so many words, well, first period, you need to be in a class somewhere and there's just nowhere to go. So you're going to have to take PE a 3rd time. She didn't have the opportunity to take an academically rigorous class. There's no GATE programs. There's not enough stuff. So I want to make sure that if we have this consolidation at the middle school level, are we going to maintain academically rigorous electives and not just have the kids take PE a 3rd time like my kid had to? The other question that I have for you is, we mentioned the possible loss of Title I funding. Can someone give us an approximate dollar amount as to how much we would lose exactly or approximately if we were to combine these 2 middle schools? If we're losing money, That is a concern that I have. Why are we doing this if we're going to lose money? Thank you.
Thank you. I can't speak to the specifics at each site because it'll redistribute next year, but district-wide, it's $556,000. And it specifically follows students receiving free and reduced lunch in populations greater than 40%.
Is that percentage based on how many families apply for the free and reduced lunch program?
Yes, please apply.
So CVMS actively applied for that program and they qualified, that percentage would have gone up?
Yes, I submit the numbers again in March. So if you haven't,
So if we
please
start a campaign at CVMS and tell everybody apply anyways, whether you qualify or not, that might help?
yes.
Good to know.
Principals, please take note of that. And then Ms. Mitchell, please send an email out to all of our leaders, directing them to have an active campaign around school lunch applications.
Why that's not required? Why it's not a whole?
Hi, my name is Sophronia, and I'm a third grader at SES. And I'm going to be answering question 1. I think that the elementary schools should combine because the kids in elementary school may feel like uncomfortable with way older kids in elementary school with them, and they'll just be stressed out walking around with 6th graders like in the halls with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophronia. If my daughter's brave enough to speak, then I probably should be too. My name's Maggie Raleigh, and I have a 3rd grader at Scarcelli, a 5th grader at Scarcelli, and I'm the head secretary at Scarcelli. So we are pretty invested in that school. We live 2 blocks away. We are all Scarcelli, and we love it there, and we've had a great experience. The only thing on this board that I can answer is number 3. I do not think 5th graders should go into middle school. My 5th grader this year would not have been ready. My 3rd grader will not be ready in 5th grade. And I have the very much pleasure of working with kindergarten through 5th grade at Scarcelli. And I have never met a 5th grader that is ready to go to middle school at the beginning of 5th grade. So as to that, I have to say I came in here with a lot of feelings tonight, and I appreciate hearing everyone speak. I also am leaning towards the consolidation of the elementary schools, which I never thought I'd say out loud, especially because that jeopardizes my personal life in many ways. But with what you presented, I appreciate that, and that to me looks like a more favorable consolidation. So thank you for presenting. Thanks for all the hard work you've done. And thank you to these fine principals that are up here tonight.
A reminder to the audience, you're not limited to just these questions up here. So if you have other things to say, you're welcome to.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to speak again. And it's a question that I've had for years. I've been teaching for 10 years for the state. And why is free and reduced lunch applications, why are they not required? We actually had a conversation about this at Minden Elementary School last year, that there's a possibility that we could get more, and then we could have more funding at our schools. And I know that it's a conversation, please apply, and we can have these benefits, but can it be required? And if it was required, or can there be an incentive for families to apply if it's additional funding for our schools and for our school sites and for our teachers and to help support students? Why is it not required? Can I ask that?
We are looking into that. Some districts in Nevada do. Clark County requires it. So we would ideally like it to be part of the OLR process in the summer.
Is that a school board thing that they can vote on and say our district would like it to be required, and maybe there could be an incentive program? I know at CC and I know at lots of different elementary schools there's incentive programs for best attendance, and we had the highest scoring class that had the most letters spelled out and whatnot. If there's more incentives, then our families and our students can get more support.
Yeah, so the board has lots of rights, authorities, and powers. Typically, the registration and enrollment process is an operational item, so we handle that in-house. Like Ms. Mitchell said, we plan on adding that to our OLR process. But at this time, I do like to give a shout out to Sonia over at GES. She does produce the most applications for lunch over at GES. So if we can replicate what she does and share that best practice, then we'll do so at our next registrar's meeting.
Is that something that we can request that the board adds and discuss and vote on?
I'll bring it up to our officers. I do have a monthly agenda planning meeting with our officers. And then if it's agreeable to place on the agenda, we do. But it typically has to be something of great importance.
Okay, great. Since I have 1 minute left, I'm kicking myself because I didn't say one thing for the last time I was up here. So if you consolidate the middle schools, just like that wonderful parent said back there, will the student take PE 3 times over? If you consolidate middle schoolers, you're consolidating staff and you're reducing programs. If you only have 20 teachers, you can only have X amount of teachers to teach innovations, to teach hydroponics, to teach CTE, to teach all these amazing elective programs that we want our students to have access to. But if you only have 20 teachers, if you need so many teachers to teach science and so many teachers to teach math and English and whatnot, their capabilities to have opportunities to grow and find their passions are reduced. So something else to think about if the consolidation of middle schools but does become an option to look at. The other thing is I asked my students in the very beginning, because I'm a first year middle school teacher, I'm learning just like they are. And I said, what do you want as a middle school student? And they said, we want freedom and we want our ability to explore what our passions are, or to find our passions, or to look towards those options. If you consolidate the middle schools, we're reducing students' abilities to find their passions. And that's a big concern for college career readiness. Thank you for your time again.
Hello, my name is Holly Stevenson, and I am a mother of 5, ranging from 16 down to 3. And so we've been a lot of areas in this valley, and I think we've attended almost every school in this valley except for Gardnerville. And so I do appreciate this county. It's been great. We've had great experiences at lots of schools. I wanted to also echo with the middle school. This is something that I was so surprised about when I had a daughter moving up into middle school, that we don't have an orchestra program. So there's a lot of programs that I feel like that we should have in the middle schools going into high school. And I think the band teacher of the high school was here last night saying that we don't have a lot of that art program, those music teachers here. And that also gave me a pause to think, am I in the right place? Because my daughter has such a passion to play the violin, and there's nowhere here for that. So anyways, that was just a side note type thing that I was just thinking about. But I was kind of divided in the middle this whole time about what the consolidation. But as I've been here, I think I am also leaning towards the elementary, even though I thought that I was not that way. But it's my understanding that all the teachers will still be employed if they're consolidated.
Teacher reductions will align with the reduction in force process, and that will be the very final process, because we have to align that to our enrollment. So if we continue to experience a decline, that may lead to a reduction in our certified staff.
Okay. But as for next year, moving into, say, CC and Scarcelli, will those teachers all stay?
We would have to do the boundary adjustments. That decision would have to be made by the board. Then we would look at the enrollment based upon those boundaries.
Okay.
And then look at staffing allocation, and HR will meet with each of our principals to determine what that enrollment is, assign staffing allocation, and go from there.
Okay.
One of our tightest ratios where we've stayed pretty consistent is our instructional ratio. We want to keep all the teachers we have.
Right. Perfect. Well, I know everybody has a great relationship with their teachers. I've had a wonderful experience at CC and with Mr. Spires. I've been so grateful. I have children on IEPs, and I know that there's concern about the special ed program. I just put my 3-year-old in their pre-K starting this week, and it was hard for me. But I know I'm grateful for these teachers, and I think our main concern as parents is, even with the consolidation, that those programs are staying for our kids, and that they are just getting the help that they've had and the help that they'll continue to need. That's my main concern. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Gideon Riley Reyes, and I'm a 5th grader at Scarcelli Elementary School. And I think that 5th grade should go and 6th grade should stay in the middle school. Me being a 5th grader, I want to go to the middle school. I'm a band student there, and I feel like I love the music. I love playing the music, and I feel like we don't get much, like we get the music option in elementary, but it expands so much more in middle school, and I enjoy it so much, and I would really like everybody else to enjoy it also. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like you're up, Ms. Burrows.
Okay. I just left soccer practice, so I'm sorry if I'm a little more keyed up than usual, but okay, guys. So why is Pinion off the table? Why did we originally say that North and South, that we were going to consolidate North and South, and now North is off the table? A school with 200 kids is off the table. We know that they're a neighborhood school, but aren't they all? Isn't every elementary school a neighborhood school? How come only the South has to suffer and take all the hits? If we only do single consolidation now, are we setting ourselves up for future problems and further more problems? 6th graders should not be in elementary school. They should not be. They need to be in the middle school. They need to be doing middle school things. Middle school should not be consolidated. Do you guys remember when you were in middle school? Do you really think we need to be putting 2 middle schools together? This would be massive disruption. The board itself last night said they want the least disruptive. Elementary schools are the only answer to that. They are the least disruptive for the kids. And Pinion should be back on the table with possibly Jacks Valley or Minden Elementary consolidation. Why is the South having to shoulder this burden? Thank you.
I know we heard a lot on, early access prevention for the education program, for the exclusive, especially someone just brought up pre-K. If we combined the elementary schools, has a potential enrollment loss analysis been taken place of those entry points? As everyone knows, middle school is a thriving location for teenagers. I myself went to a K through 8th school, so I'm not great at understanding the middle school dynamic. I just know I was able to get done what I got done. But I know getting into a school, it's all about your elementary school life. And for some people, some of their lives are based around getting their kids that early access they need. If we're consolidating those elementary schools, as we kind of seen in the risk scenarios, those IEPs are going to be overloaded. Those education learners are going to be overloaded. And as we heard from some teachers, students are resilient once they get older. They're thriving, even with each other, with their teachers. Elementary schools are younger, though. They house a younger population who are still learning, who are still grasping straws. And if we put them under the stress of combining this, what kind of analysis has been done, not only for your enrollment loss, but the risk factors for the resources that are then available for them? I'm so happy to hear that we're still having those 2 early access, I'm sorry, I'm probably using the wrong name, teachers there. But what's going to be done to prevent the loss of resources and for our teachers to be burnt out. I'm sorry, but they're going to be overloaded. We thrive as a county because we brought the pre-K program and the early access intervention to our district. It's why we're ranked one of the top Northern Nevada districts. It's why we get niche rated #1. And now we're talking about getting rid of that. Somebody brought up one of the core reasons we need to get to the bottom. You have consistently stated at the bottom of the list is declining enrollment, and then reducing these elementary schools, which are the entry points of the schools. Yes, some of them are in close proximity, but again, decreasing the resources. I just want to know if any analysis to that specifically has been done.
Yeah, we completed a cohort survival analysis for the most recent school year. Our lowest percentage of cohort survival was third grade at 80%. We lost them 20% of our population in third grade last year. We don't know if that's attributed to the read by grade 3 assessments. So we'd have to do some more surveys regarding that. And then we also have a kinder enrollment process that will start soon. And that's where we kind of gauge how many students we'll have in kinder. Yeah, but most parents wait until August to enroll their kinder students. So we do need to do some advertisement with the Record Courier and blast it out on social media. We need as much participation in the early enrollment process as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chelsea Bryan. I have a 6th grade daughter at Paul Middle School and a 2nd grade son at CCMES. So I just have a question. It could have been brought up potentially at prior board meetings, but in regards to consolidating the elementary schools, I understand that Scarcelli and CC Manili are located pretty close together. So my question is, when it comes to transportation with the buses and things like that, is there going to be transportation, say, if the CC kids are going to Scarcelli without that radius becoming wider to where they're eligible to ride the bus or not? Because I have a 7-year-old, I don't see him walking all the way to Scarcelli, even though it's 2.2 miles away.
I don't want to cut off your time. Are you finished?
No, that's my only question, because that's my main concern. I mean, to me, it's kind of a moot point. Either way, one of my kids is going to get it. So
our district policy right now is 1 mile. So
it would stay
one. Yes, we
beautiful. Thank you so much. That was like my main concern. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
My name is Clarissa, and my notes are a little bit scrambled because I am a parent of Jacks Valley kids. And yes, it did come off the chopping block last night temporarily. I know it could still be looked at in another year or two. I'd just like to first say to the students who have spoken tonight and in the other meetings, and even those who are listening, I was in your position. I grew up in North Tahoe. And when I was in 5th grade, we were the queen and king of the school, getting up to our middle school, which was at the same building as our high school. They were just separated by the gymnasium. The next year, because of budget cuts and problems, I was then the king and the queen back down at 6th grade in our elementary school. I remember taking the time to go to meetings and to speak on behalf of my fellow students of what would be the best, and they were talking about merging North Tahoe and Truckee. So it still stands out as a memory, and you will all survive one way or another. But you should pat yourself on the back for having, for learning and being able to take the time to speak. I guess I'm on number 5 of just some additional things that could be looked at to bring in more resources, more money into the district. I know at 2 meetings, there were people who got up and spoke and said, please, board, give me the opportunity, listen to me. We might have some solutions. And I would say to the board of, take the time, listen to them. What's the worst that could happen? It could be just an hour out of your day, or it could be the answer to a lot of problems. Also, growing up in North Tahoe, I had a bus pass. It was a stamped card. I don't know if it was 25 cents a ride or not, but that is something that I, as a parent, would be willing to look at. If you charged parents for an annual fee to ride the bus, or a monthly fee or just those options, I'd be willing to do it. It takes a village to kind of raise your kids. And if you took something as low as 25 cents and half the students at Jacks Valley rode the bus, you'd be making approximately $900 a month. And that's just on 25 cents. Obviously, not everybody could afford it. If they qualified for Title I and reduced lunches, then they probably would qualify for reduced transportation, but it's something else to look at of how to get money. The other thing is when I went to enroll my pre-K kids, there wasn't enough room for them. I paid to have my kids watched. I currently pay to have my kids be in an after-school program because I work. If there are teachers that are going to be cut, please open that up to allow those teachers to possibly come in earlier and maybe help with some of those preschool, or not preschool, but daycare type situation, which could also end up with classes of life skills in the after school also. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Taryn Newell. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. My daughter, Blakely, actually got up here and spoke, and she worked on this speech for about 3 days straight, and then she got here and tossed it out. And I'm really proud of her because as a student at CVMS, she was all for, don't make us combine schools. This is going to be awful. And if you do, make sure it's my school. She had really good reasons, really good points. But she got up here tonight and she spoke for the elementary school students because she, again, came from a private school into the middle school last year. Massive eye opener. Huge, huge, huge emotional distress for a lot of the year. And it was a pretty big transition. So if she's looking at other students thinking, man, my sacrifice is going to save a younger student who may get to stay in the elementary school, I was very proud of her for that. With that said, I'm going to talk about my student and how I feel about my kid having to combine at the middle schools. Mr. Thetford, I want to say thank you. She has really appreciated all you've done this year coming in and being the principal at this school and the changes you have made. So congratulations on that. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. She's loving school. And I was in this district as a student, and we had K through 6 as the elementary school. We also had 7 through 9th as our middle school. And I remember that being actually a really good transition and wishing my kids still had that because it did keep us younger. It did keep us more innocent at that elementary school age. I thought it was fantastic. So even speaking as a parent of a middle schooler and encouraging the 6th graders to stay at the elementary school is hard because that means that my kid has to merge schools. I don't think either of these are great solutions. I don't put this out there lightly. I think you guys are in a tough position. With that said, if there is a merge at the middle school, we really have to think about the demographics and the dynamics of this county. I know we've talked about the North and how they're the ones that are being sacrificed. It is so incredibly true. And if we're talking money, according to the Nevada report card.nv.gov, CVMS spends about $3,000 less per child per year. So if we're looking at saving money, CVMS is doing that. I know there's a lot of functionality to Pawaloo. I went to Pawaloo. I understand the way the pods work. I can see how that would make sense. However, it doesn't make sense for anyone who lives north of 395. And it doesn't make sense to add that extra time on the buses. CVMS is such a more central location, the safety factor. So if that is the route it's going, I really hope we consider keeping kids in this county, especially since we're losing them at a rapid rate anyway. We're going to lose 10 times more if we cut off all of northern 395. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Katrina Cooney. I am a teacher here at Douglas High School. I also have a kindergartner in the district. I am going to echo what some people are saying, and I am another product of this school district. And I went through K through 6 when I was in elementary school. And just like Taryn said, I was a 7th through 9th grader. I don't disagree that 6th graders should be in the elementary school. I think that I did it. Many people have done it before. I don't really have a feeling that it would be a negative consequence. I do think 5th graders at Pawaloo, though, would have that negative consequence. especially with some of the behaviors we see with our freshmen coming into the high school recently, coming out of those middle school settings. I could see that being highly influential. My other point that I would like to say is for the board, I know I've been actively listening and involved in these meetings. We need a decision I think, quickly based off our timeline with Department of Taxation, but also just for our public in general, the stress and anxiety it's caused for our teachers. Like it was said previously to this is it's increasing daily. I would also say the rumor mill is getting wild and out of control. That is what people are saying behind closed doors or the conversations that are being had. So I really urge the board that we make a decision and we stick to that. My other question, though, with this is based off our declining enrollment and the things we have seen and our trends that are continuing, we are going to be back here in a couple years, aren't we? Right?
We're going to monitor over the next 2 years, and if the realities still exist that we're declining 166 or more on an annual basis, then yes, we'll start another process, but that will be a phased process.
Okay. I think the public needs to know that because tonight we're talking about what is preferred versus the elementary or the middle schools. But I think the reality is we will be right back here. And so while these decisions aren't easy and they're not great, we need to come to terms that we are shrinking as a district. And this is not going to be our only situation that we have to go to. Thank you.
Hi, it's me again. I forgot to ask a question. You guys were talking about classroom situations with Scarselli and CC, and you said CC has 24 classrooms available, Scarselli has 23. Is that correct? And those will all be with the teachers? Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that including the classrooms for the arts, like music? So will they have a room?
Ms. McNeil, do you want to turn your microphone on?
Yes, we have a dedicated room. Both of the elementary schools have a dedicated room. So yes, there would still be space for art and music. They would not travel to classrooms. They would have their own space still.
Okay. And what about like the PT and the speech and things like that?
So I know at my site, those specialists currently have full-size classrooms in many cases because we have those rooms. So we've just spread out where we could. In the past, when Scarselli was full, when we didn't have that classroom space, they utilized smaller spaces. We have 3 rooms in each hallway that are, I call mid-size, maybe like half-size classrooms, decent size, that are equipped the same as a classroom, but just a little bit smaller size. And then some other smaller sized rooms as well that are more like offices but could accommodate a speech teacher or ESL teacher, things like that.
Okay.
We have several of those.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of my, sorry, go ahead. Same. Yeah.
We have dedicated art and music room over there. We have 10 different smaller office spaces around the school for all of this.
Them. Okay. I guess my thing, if there's a little bit more room at CC, for me, it would make sense to go there because if we grow or if we need to add programs, if we could someday, that might be a better option for the board, the bigger area that keep that going. And with my last comment, I also forgot to say, I just didn't look at my notes, but also with the 5th grade moving up, that was something that I was concerned about. I also have had kids that age. I just had one move into 6th grade and it's changed life a lot. And I just don't feel like those 5th graders should be there quite yet. So thank you.
I also didn't look at my notes. So April Weiss again, I would just like to quickly comment on if the elementary school consolidation were to be the option that happened, that my vote would be for Scarselli to be the site to stay open. I think the advantages and disadvantages slides speak for themselves. Also with this, I know at the meeting last night, you alluded to the site that closed could now become the district office and house the pre-K, where pre-K is already at CC, so they could stay there and district offices could move there as well. And that's it.
Good evening. My name is Alicia Hill. I work at CC Manili. I have to admit today was high anxiety. Knowing what the discussion would be, I have to admit my anxiety is a little bit lowered, knowing that the two propositions that you have don't necessarily have fifth grade moving up. I really appreciate that. My son talked about that earlier. I do love, however, allowing fifth graders to go to band. I still wanted to shout out to Powell. Mrs. Goff is amazing. So send my fifth graders to band, but bring them back to me. I am grateful to hear that you guys are doing a boundary alignment. I have to admit, as CC, I feel like we're kind of taking a punch for the rest of the school district, and that combining them, I don't know, it didn't sit well. But knowing that you are going to continue to look at services, you're going to continue to look at class sizes, I really appreciate that, knowing that this burden should be shared across the district. So thank you. I'm grateful that you're keeping the 2 literacy specialists if we combine elementaries, because I know that was a huge stressor over at our site. My question though to you is, what is the prospect for our EL specialists as well as our speech? Just how is that going to look? And obviously, is that just determined by enrollment?
So we will look at the EL numbers, and part of that will be looking at fifth graders that are moving on, and then looking at what's left, and then determine. There is no NRS that dictates the number of students on an EL caseload like there is in special education, but we do try to kind of use that model. And so we will definitely make an informed decision with that based on what those numbers look like.
Okay.
And make sure that we have support that's appropriate.
That would be grateful, because right now you're missing 1.5 positions, and it would be sad if that one person has to cover technically both sites if we combine the elementary school. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Since I'm not the only one who didn't look at all my notes, I'll get brave enough to come back up. I would also like to let everybody know that if this is your first meeting, there's also DPAC meetings. I don't remember if the D is district or Douglas, but it's a parent advisory council, and there is another meeting, I believe it's the 10th of February.
Yes, at Powell Middle School.
So, it's a way to be informed of everything that's going on. One question I did want to ask is the Aspire kids. I know we have been paying rent to property with the college, and that they are going to be moving because the college needs that space. I heard a rumor that they were possibly moving into the old schoolhouse, but there might be needed some retrofit because it's not ADA compliable. I don't know if that's true. Again, rumors, but maybe if the Aspire kids, I believe there's around 100 of them, could go into if it's an elementary school, one of the schools that's closing, versus that maybe they wouldn't have to invest more money. Don't shoot me for this, but when you were speaking about possibly a 4-day school week, everybody's getting hit, and we want it to be the least amount of impact on our students and our teachers. So I'll say it out loud. Is there a potential for a 4-day work week or lesser hours at the district office, maybe early out Mondays? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Blair Madden. I am a parent of a first grader at CC Manili. I am also the district-wide physical therapist, so I have no loyalties to any school. They are all great, and you're right, it's going to be fine. They're all wonderful. A couple of things that I wanted to say. You know what? I'm going to run down these. So which consolidation do you prefer? Honest answer, none. But I know we can't say that. I would probably lean towards the elementary school. And I'm saying that having an elementary school student, right? My biggest concern, I think it's great to bring sixth grade down. I agree that they are middle schoolers and they should be doing some middle school things. However, let's keep that childhood innocence as long as we can. Fifth grade going to Powell, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think that's a terrible idea. And then specific safety concerns I have, I'm going to come back to that one. Let me circle back. Okay. So one thing that I would like you guys to consider, the timeline that I'm understanding is that open enrollment will be February 9th through the 20th. If I want to move my child in the district, I would have to do it during that time. When that closes, then we find out about rezoning. And the reason I bring this up is because I live on the line right now, the boundary line between two schools. Had we bought the house across the street, we'd be going to a different school. There's a very good chance that in the rezoning process, my son then has to go to a new school. I happened to mention to him just in passing that his school could close, and he was devastated. And I was like, it's okay. You're going to go to Scarcisi. And you know, kids, Cherry Grove, new name, Scarcisi. But he knows kids at both schools. And I'm like, this is really, I am going to make it good. It's going to be positive. And I promise that no matter what, I promised him this is going to be a good thing. My concern though, is that open enrollment closes. And if we get rezoned, and let's say suddenly he's zoned for GES, he's no longer going to Scarcisi with all of his friends. And then what do? I can't go back because open enrollment's closed. Just a concern for maybe the board to consider. I know you guys probably can't get the rezoning done sooner, but it just feels like kind of getting whammy after whammy after whammy, where that just feels really hard. I'm an optimistic person and I can be so positive and uplifting for my son. This is going to be good, but it's really hard when it's like, okay, another hit, okay, another hit. So just, I don't know if there's anything you can do to speed that process up, but it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, thank you. Bye.
I can speak to open enrollment real quick. The timeline is ridiculous. Yeah, and I'm over it. I'm like over the project, in both ways you want to take that. We're just stuck in the middle. We have to get a consolidation answer before we open it. We wanted to open it in January, but we can't open it without knowing the consolidations. But I have to submit the cost of transportation requests by early March to NDE. So our transportation department needs a little window at the end of February to figure out how much it would cost for people eligible for transportation grants who would receive them to go to the school they want. But no, I don't know if we can formally reopen open enrollment, but if the capacity's there, there's no reason we couldn't reconsider a request later on. Like, please, if you're considering it, submit where you want your child to go. And if something compromises that, I will call you and ask where you want your child to go. It's a small town and a small district, and we want to work with you. And this is just a really unfortunate combination of circumstances.
Hi, Alyssa Park. I'm a teacher at Scarcelli Elementary School. My first preference for consolidation would be bringing sixth grade back down to the elementary schools. When I was getting ready for sixth grade, my parents I grew up in Southern Nevada. They decided to homeschool me so that I would not have to go to middle school for sixth grade because it was so grown up. And I am glad that I was homeschooled for sixth grade because middle school was really scary. My brother did go to GES for sixth grade. It's been done before. I think it's a great option. I know a lot of parents have discussed the opportunities that it takes away from sixth graders, but I feel there's a chance for the district to get a little creative here and maybe make some more options open to sixth grade and maybe even the older elementary kids, fourth graders and fifth graders. I'm glad to know that you are looking at more than just rezoning the Ruhenstrath area, Mr. Alvarado. I was concerned when I saw that in the presentation because it does look a lot like just the southern end of the valley is taking the brunt of these financial savings efforts that the district is making. Mr. Fromdahl mentioned last night, talking about his school with optimum capacity in the K-8 middle option, that there is full capacity and then there's also an optimum capacity for students at a class in a school. You want to have classrooms full of kids. That's what schools are for. But you also want options for maker spaces or hydroponics rooms. So the elementary students do also have those other options. So I'm a little confused, Mr. Alvarado, when you said that if CC and Scarcelli were to combine, that all those classrooms would be totally full of students. Is that what it said? Am I understanding it correctly?
Yes, and I worked with the principals, so they helped Ms. Mitchell complete the capacity,
Okay.
and then I had a collaborative meeting with each of them, and we went through and developed those slides.
And that's based on current capacity?
Yes, and so
Okay, so-
principals, if you want to answer anything specific,
But that's
you're
just
welcome to.
like prior to redistricting or rezoning students in the valley.
Correct. We're just showing possibilities.
Okay. But that wouldn't be like the actual number of students at either site if we were to combine or go to CC or Scarcelli.
We would need a decision on boundaries,
Right.
and then we would look at enrollment again
Yes.
after that point. And when we do reboundaries, we're trying to level enrollment across all elementaries in the district.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So that would be the maximum that
Okay.
the school could experience.
I am curious to know what efforts the district is making to highlight Douglas, Nevada online as an option for families who choose to homeschool. There have been a lot of people tonight who have expressed their reservations about fifth graders going up or middle schools combining. I feel it's a great option to keep students within district and still receiving funding without losing them to homeschool. And I am curious to know what other financial savings the district is pursuing outside of consolidation and reducing staffing.
Great. I'll answer the first one, and then Ms. Peters will answer the DNO question. We're about 2 weeks out from publishing the Department of Taxation report. It's a comprehensive report that shows all of the cost savings that we're pursuing that will put us at net zero. At this time next year, we'll have another plan to restore our ending fund balances to 4% for the general fund and then 2% contingency. So we're not trying to make up everything all at once. We are trying to get to net neutral so we don't have to worry about going into receivership and having Department of Taxation take authority and make all the decisions just looking at a piece of paper, right? Not knowing the sentiment of our community.
Which I understand. I just feel like I know things need to be kept private until the plan is ready for publishing, but it seems from a public perspective that these are the efforts the district is making is just closing schools and riffing teachers and classified staff. So I feel like maybe it would just be nice for the district to make a statement like we are looking for savings in other areas as well, other than firing people.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Right now, we're just waiting to put the numbers in that plan. So our Director of Business, Sue Estes, is working on that. Her deadline is the 5th. And then at that point, I'll make the final amendments to that plan and try to distribute it to our entire school community through a Did You Know message.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a couple weeks away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with regard to DNO being part of a homeschool program, the state, you can either have distance education or you can have homeschool, but a school district cannot offer a homeschool option of distance education, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So homeschool is something that is selected by parents and they will be in charge of what that looks like based on a curriculum that they find that they want to have their students participate in. We have started some conversation about the possibility of DNO back like it was COVID, right? 4th grade up through high school. That's early stages of looking at that. That is something that homeschool comes through our office. And so I know that when parents come in with the intent to homeschool, if they are students that are middle school, high school age, that is something that is shared with them. If they are not opposed to actually having their students be enrolled officially in Douglas County School District. But we do have some parents that come in that really do not want their student to have information in Infinite Campus, or they want their students to have a different kind of educational experience that would not happen from an online program. But that is something that we are looking at because there is possibility of bringing some of those students back that just want an online option, but it would not be a homeschool option. It would be distance education.
Okay, thank you. I've got 21 seconds left. So in the event of an elementary consolidation, I feel like my opinion would be really clear. I would like to have students all come to Scarcelli. I feel that our campus offers a lot of benefits with its close proximity to Pauwalu for 5th grade band students and for a lot of the inter-school activities that students at both sites already participate in. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one more. We are just past 7:30, so go ahead, Ms. Laka.
Okay, I will definitely take less than 3 minutes. I just wanted to say from a parent point of view that for every 6th grader that people feel they would prefer them to be at elementary school. There are parents and families that are so happy their sixth graders are at the middle schools. Last year, when there was the rumor going around that sixth grade was going to get pulled down for this school year, my child, who is currently a sixth grader, was absolutely devastated. He had been looking forward to going to middle school all year. We talked about all the opportunities that that affords. So I just want to point out, again, no shade on anyone's personal preferences, but there are lots and lots of parents and families who are very glad that sixth graders are at the middle school. So in closing, I just want to remind everyone that elementary consolidation doesn't affect kids geographically the way that middle school consolidation would, no matter which site you pick, if you went that route. And also it doesn't take away the opportunities from kids at the middle school, at elementary school the way that it would at the middle school. And finally, since we are here because of a financial crisis, I want to remind everyone that elementary consolidation will actually bring in more Title I dollars, and middle school consolidation would lose those Title I dollars. So thank you for letting me sneak that in.
Okay, just to wrap up, I believe some of our principals may have a statement they want to make or address the audience. You want to start with you, Ms. McNeil?
Yes, I'm Susan McNeil, the principal at Scarselli, and I want to give a shout out to all of the kids who spoke tonight. It is difficult as an adult to stand up and talk in front of people, and for those kids as young as third grade and up through middle school, and there was a high schooler, to get up and speak in front of us is incredible. And I want to, that is a testament to their parents and their teachers. And I want to thank all of you for the confidence that you've instilled in your children and what you've given them to be able to come and participate and to give their opinions tonight. Their opinions matter, no matter how young they are. They do matter. And I also want you to know this is very difficult. It's difficult. Mr. Spires and I have had many conversations. This is difficult for our two sites, for our staff, for our families, and for he and I both. And no matter what happens, no matter what decision is made, I want to tell you it will be the right decision for kids. We have kids at the forefront of all the decisions that we will be making. And as Mrs. Daniels spoke earlier, kids are resilient and they listen to us. So we need to make sure that we are being positive. And I, again, want to assure staff and families that we will do the right thing for kids. And it's going to be okay. As much as, I mean, I've been at Scarselli for, I don't know, over 10 years, and that is a family to me. And to think about those hallways not being occupied with kids, it kills me. But something has to be done. And I know that, and trust us to do the right thing, okay? Trust the board and trust us as educators to make sure that we are doing the right thing, okay? And thank you for all of you who came and showed us that this matters to you. Thank you.
Obviously what Susan said was excellent. And I'm so proud of Douglas County, even with all of these pieces when we're here. So many of us in this room went to school here. I went to Scarselli the year it opened for kindergarten. I remember Mrs. Downs in that room in the pit. I love that pit. I ended up going to GES and then CVMS, and Douglas went to UNR and came back, and I'm proud to be at CC Manila. It's where my wife went to school. My mother-in-law taught there for, I think I lost count after 30 years. So we're all very connected to all of our schools, as Susan said, and this is very hard. Her and I talk every day. Our staff talked today. My goal was just to try to keep it together throughout the day and to be here. But we're all talking to try to do the right thing. And I know everybody in here, I think, knows that. You showed up. We're here late to do this. We're proud of all of our schools. We all have things that we can say. And at the end of the day, this will be very hard regardless of what decision is made. But I can guarantee you that everybody will do everything they can to make this work for kids, to make it work for staff. And we don't have all the answers right now, but we're working on it. And I know that we're all open to any questions any parents have, to staff. We're here to answer what we can. We all talk. It's just hard. And I appreciate you all being here. Thank you. Thank you, Susan, for well said. And now you guys get to go. So thank you again.
Yes, I just want to say again, thank you so much for being here. And to our students who spoke tonight and last night, it was amazing. I know those kids put a lot of effort and time, and their teachers, some of their teachers helped them. Their families helped them. So thank you so much for doing that. Couple things I would like to say. I would like to just echo Mrs. Daniels. Thank you so much. That is our job. These are my friends and my colleagues up here. I trust each and every one of them. And I know that whatever is made, that your kids are in good hands with our administrators in our district and their teachers. We will try to create unity and welcome staffs or join staffs, whatever we need to do, our staffs will do that. We are ready to do that. Just as many of you said, we are also ready for a decision. Our anxiety is also right here, right now. I have like 17 fidgets on my desk at all times at this point. So including right now, right here. So we are all living in that, and we feel you and we understand that. I want to just talk to a couple points. Our amazing TRE kids. I've had TRE kids. I've worked at Minden for years. Those kids ride buses an hour each way, and they have for years. So I know that we're talking about 6 miles in 15 minutes, but I also want us to all keep them in mind. Sorry. Because they're an important part of our community. And I feel that some of our kids are underrepresented in those ways. And so I want to make sure that when we're saying these things, that we do keep in mind what families and kids are going through each day. The other thing is I have been an elementary educator for over 20 years. I was a 5th grade teacher for the majority of those years. I love those 5th graders, and I know by the spring those 5th graders are ready to move on. And I know that as parents, I have a student who graduated a couple years ago. I have a junior in high school right now. We want to hang on to our babies as long as we can. But we have so many of those kids that are ready to move on. In this quick decision that came up yesterday about 5th through 8, possibly not a decision, sorry, idea that came up about 5th through 8. That's what we talked about today at Powaloo. We talked about how can we do this? What can we do? This happened in the past when 6th grade moved back up. Those teachers started team teaching. Those teachers worked with just those 6th graders, trying to really preserve that safety and that home feeling for them. They did team teaching, which is very similar to what our 5th grade departmentalization looks like at our elementary schools right now. That is what we will do if that were the case, if that were the decision, is those 5th graders would be in their pod. They would have possibly 3 teachers that they move in between, as well as have electives, but those students wouldn't be with 8th graders. It would not be a combination like that. We would keep them where they are, just as 6th grades are right now. We have a 6th grade lunch. Currently, those 6th grade lunches are so chill. And altogether, our behavior has gone down tremendously this year. We have done such a phenomenal job with PBIS and rewards and really having that strong MTSS process so that we don't have those behaviors. And it's been amazing this year. And I just want to thank all of my staff for just really being on board with that and pushing those positives, because that has helped tremendously. So I know the fear of families, but I am just telling you, we will welcome those kids. We will make sure they are seen, known, and loved as if they were our own. So thank you so much for being here and your care for your kids in this community. Thank you.
I guess just echoing what everyone has said up here, it's interesting. I had a superintendent once that told me it's hard to understand till you have kids of your own, what kids go through. I've got 3 kids, and they're very important to me. So when we make decisions at the school level, I promise you, we're thinking about our own kids. We're thinking about your kids. We're thinking about our kids. So some of those things, and whether it's a K-5, a K-12, a K-7, a 6-8, whatever. I guess the kids would probably say 6-7, but that's different. That's a different story. So some of those things where when we make decisions, I can assure you that it's decisions that we look at what's best for kids, and we try to make those decisions based on what the kids need, and it changes from year to year. I mean, every year, no two years have been the same because those things change. And so when you send your kids to us, I promise you the conversations we have in the office, the communication we have with our teachers is always about what's best for the kids right here, right now, that's going to benefit them the most. And I promise you, your kids are in good hands when you send them to us. And again, if fifth grade comes up, either with the Palo to CVMS or to wherever, whether it's a 6-8, I promise you that we're going to take care of them. We're going to do our best. Kind of the same thing, Miss I want to say Amy, but Miss Carter, kind of like she said, this was way down. I know there was a fight mentioned at CVMS, and as crazy as it sounds, that was our first actual fight of the year. Was last week. We went the whole semester and didn't have a single fight. So our kids are responding to what we're doing. Thank you. So our kids across the board are responding to what we're doing, and I promise you, the changes we're making are positive changes. It's not. There is freedom, like they said, they want freedom, and there's freedom, but it's freedom with rules. It's freedom with guidance. It's freedom with this is what it looks like as you get older. So thank you for trusting us. Thank you for what you do as parents. You send your kids to us, and we know it's your most prized possession, and we appreciate that. And we will do our best to make sure that we do everything we can to meet your expectations. So thank you.
Before I conclude this meeting today, raise your hand if you attended Douglas County Schools. Wow, thank you for filling the room today. Thank you for sharing your voices, your viewpoints. Just trust that the board is listening to you. They gave me direction to hold a town hall, solicit your input. They've really allowed more public comment on action or non-action items at the board meetings. They will continue to do that, and we will do more community engagement activities once a decision is made. Just like our principals said, we care about you. We care about your kids. We will do our best every single day, and we will maximize their potential even with our resources being scarce or being limited due to financial struggle. The plan that we will distribute is a comprehensive plan. We're just waiting for the numbers to be attached to all the items that we're considering for reduction. It does hurt to eliminate positions, eliminate outstanding educators that work for us. But really, we're stuck in a really bad position where Department of Taxation is telling me I'm violating the law, and the board is violating the law, and they want us to be compliant with the law. We are the first district to go through this. There will be 4 districts that go through this next year, and they're making vigorous cuts this year. There's a district on the east side of the state that's cutting middle school sports. We're not attempting to cut any programs, arts, music, athletics. We're looking at different options. There's a lot of other activities that we need to do with our associations. I don't know how fruitful those conversations will be until we get to that point, and we figure out what we can compromise with. So thank you for attending. This meeting is being recorded. Anticipate that we will post this over the next week once all the editing is done to it. I appreciate all of you, and just once again, trust the board, trust our administrators. We're working for you and for our kids. Have a good night.